Hey there, how you doing? So this is for Thursday, the 13th of August. I'm actually recording this on the day of the eclipse on Wednesday, the 12th. And yeah, Thursday, the 13th, I really wanted to speak to how the pattern is evolving. I mentioned this on Sunday's episode, or in Sunday's episode. I was talking about how let me just get my cursor here. I was talking very much about how the basket, which I've been affectionately calling a boat, is really transforming into a pair of granny knickers. And on Sunday, I did also say that as this is occurring, that there's another important point that it would be really helpful to pay attention to, especially seeing as a lot of people who follow me have a lot going on in the signs of Scorpio and Sagittarius, and that sort of like area around the end of Scorpio and beginning of Sagittarius. Because, I've got Scorpio rising, I've also got Sagittarius sun, and like 5 things in Sagittarius. And so I always think that people that follow me often have things around here. That's what I've noticed, especially in my community. And so I really wanted to talk about this midpoint today. I mean, on Thursday, the 13th, we've got one exact aspect, which is Mercury sextile Venus. We've got the moon going into Virgo, and then we've got 4 moon aspects. But as far as I see, we should also be talking about how this energy is transforming and also the future of it, because it's going to keep transforming. And there's going to be a whole series of dates in the future where Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus get activated and reactivated and reactivated again and again. And they are essentially in a, I don't want to say a never-ending story, because they will come out of this foundational pattern that they're in right now. I mean, what they are in is what's known as a minor grand trine. So it's a trine from like a minor trine. So it's one trine with 2 sextiles. And what that means is that Neptune is in the midpoint of Pluto and Uranus. Given that Pluto and Uranus are in a trine now, and that Pluto is in a sextile with Neptune, they're going to be in this minor grand trine for a really long time. So let me just put a little bit of context on that. Pluto and Neptune, they've already had their first exact trine, but they're going to have another 4 between now and the beginning of 2028. And then Uranus will start to move out of that trine with Pluto, and that will start to break down. Neptune has been in a loose sextile, i.e. not an exact sextile with Pluto, I think since the 1950s, and is staying in a sextile. But by the time we get to 2061, is going to go into a square. Now, this is like the very first aspect that these guys are making since they came together in a conjunction many, many, many moons ago. And they've got a very, precise and very, very slow cycle together. But they are making, and this is unusual, they're making 13 exact sextiles between now and 2032. And so this is pretty much going to be at the midpoint between Pluto and Uranus, at least until 2028. So as the sun, as Mercury, as Mars, as Venus, and as the moon move through the zodiac, we're going to get Barbel's basket, or the boat, or I've heard loads of other shapes that people have used. There's some really great ones like an arc, loads of different things. They're going to keep reconstituting, but in a different shape. So right now, it's Pluto in Aquarius right the way through to Jupiter. Now it's been handed over to Mercury in Leo, but now it's expanding into a much bigger shape with Venus in Libra. And as we go through the year ahead, there will be a moment where Venus, the Sun, Mercury and Mars, actually Mars, hold off on that because he's a little bit slower, but they're all going to be coming into this area here in Libra, and later on this area here in Sagittarius. And of course, once it hits Sagittarius, there's another basket or boat, just completely upside down from here, from my view. If there's something in Libra and something in Sagittarius, we may even have, depending on how quickly Mars comes in. And of course, we've got the South Node that's just gone into the sign of Leo. So we're going to have all different configurations of this coming up. But the base of it is Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. And these base planets and these outer planets, all three of these outer planets, working in resistant free aspects. I say resistant free because they're seen as being easy and fast, like the trine between Pluto and Uranus, especially in the air signs. It's affecting us at a mental level, a technological level, in particular in terms of computing. And AI, I'm absolutely certain, comes into this. Data centers, I'm sure, come into this. One world governments, I'm sure, comes into this. Everything to do with power and all of our resources and our facilities that connect us, because Gemini is all about connections and roadways, to send electricity and so on and so forth. So this is just a huge area that's going to be developing and developing and developing more. And then when these personal planets come in and add to their configuration, then what is going on here reaches us humans. Or if these aspects fall in line with something that we've got natally here or here or here in particular, so Leo, Libra, or Sagittarius, they're going to be working with one of our natal planets or many of our natal planets. I've got something at 9 Libra and also something at 6 and 9 and 10 Sagittarius. So, there's a lot that's working here, and you might find that too. So, the reason why I wanted to mention this is it's not that we're going to forget about the basket or the fact that we have this very incredible sort of astrology. Just these three working together is incredible in its own right. It's showing that we are coming into an age where things are going to change and transform really fast, in particular to do with our technology, in particular to do with our thinking, and also with that sense of adventure, and also I'm going to say creation, because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's like the birthing. I think there's a lot about our identity as human beings is going to be transforming. So this latest one, and this is what my whole intro was about, really, like, where are we right now? We've got Venus leading the way. So if we just step back a little bit to like a month ago, when we had Jupiter coming into this place, Jupiter was leading all these slower planets away from Pluto. So it's the underworld, bringing everything to the light and making sure that anything that is light is getting seen, and that the light is showing up what is dark by comparison. I mean, let's face it, I think if you look at the news cycles, you'll see so many comparative things where it looks like you have a choice between dark or light, and this is what's dark and this is what's light. Make no mistake, this is how it's pitched. And so, Jupiter has maximized these conversations so that we're all in these big conversations, whether we're publicly doing it or between ourselves. It's also going to take us into our echo chambers and then out of our echo chambers, because as Jupiter moves more into Leo, and now we've got Mercury in Leo as well, there's proud thinking, and there's thinking that's getting louder. And of course, today's solar eclipse is also quite loud. It's central. We are going to be central in our lives again, i.e. we're not going to be pussyfooting around for the sake of keeping the peace quite so much. That said, we've got Venus, who has eclipsed, sorry to use that language, but eclipsed Jupiter and the Sun, and also Mercury. And Venus is now in her own sign, in the sign of Libra, making this fifth corner of what can only be described as eventually like the blueprint for a hexagon, or actually you can see it's a 6-pointed star because you've got a trine here and then you've got a trine here. So it's a very special kind of chart as we see it. And if you've got this extra point here, that's pretty strong. It's going to be leading the way. I'll talk about that. There's no asteroids of note here right now. However, this point here is also the Venus-Pluto midpoint. So if we think of what the Venus-Pluto midpoint would be, i.e. the equal space between these two, the Venus-Pluto midpoint is where, if you're like doing air kisses, mwah, mwah, it's like where Pluto's cheek and Venus's cheek, just like it's that little space that exists between the two of them in their big old cosmic air kiss. And here Venus, which is all about relating to others, and Pluto, who is about transforming others and helping people see the shadow. I would absolutely say that our relationships, our emotions, our attractions, the things that we absolutely value are becoming very fatalistic. They're transforming. They're really felt at a very, very strong level. And so it's interesting because, yes, Venus is leading the way, but she's also leading us back into the darkness. She's leading us back to Pluto. And Pluto is, I guess, opening up. He's opening himself up to Venus as well at this midpoint. So this is a place where we feel things very, very deeply. And like I said, if you've got a planet here or a couple or a node here, like I do, then this Venus-Pluto midpoint is, I would say, influencing that planet. That planet will be felt in a very ardent, passionate, most likely sexual way. And it will be felt like, oh my God, I've never felt anything stronger than this extreme emotion that I'm feeling right now, in particular attractions. If you're single, this could be really horny. I mean, this could really get things moving for you, especially as, it's working here. And, if we're on the subject of midpoints and your way around astro.com, why not check out where your midpoints are? You might even have a midpoint around 4 degrees in the sign of Sagittarius. It's worth a try. It's worth a look. So this is of importance. So anyway, Venus is leading the way. She's bringing beauty. She's bringing self-care back. You see here, Jupiter was leading it almost in a sort of rabulous way into the sign of Leo. And of course, in his opposition to Pluto, he's saying, check me out. I'm regaining my sovereignty. I'm reclaiming it. Sod off, Pluto. I'm reclaiming my own power. I don't need you to transform me. I don't need you to put your ideas of who I am onto me or how I should be from your viewpoint. And I've mentioned how social shame, I think, Pluto in Aquarius can really, really show up. There's been a lot on censorship and social shame over the last 5 years. In particular, like you're either with the right people or you're wrong. And that's pretty strong, isn't it? And I've seen that mirrored so many times. But Jupiter in Leo is like, hey, babe, I'm here. I'm back. I'm back in myself. I'm sort of inhabiting my body. I'm feeling things in a really strong way. This is absolutely identified with the ego. And this is absolutely sort of unattached to ourselves. It's more attached to the system, and this is attachment to ourselves. So yeah, like this was really obvious, and it still is, because Mercury's here, and Mercury is going to be making conversations a lot louder. But now Venus is coming in. She's going to want some fairness. And so I think this is interesting because, yes, we're likely to smarten up. And yes, we're likely to pay a bit more attention to ourselves. But we're wanting to do things fairly. And I would say legally, because the scales is very much about justice. And justice should be blind. We shouldn't be looking at everything, without impartiality. So I would say there's going to be quite a few legal processes going on at the moment, or you're feeling the need to take your emotions out of something and make things impartial. Venus here, for all of her beauty in sign of Libra, she's really diplomatic, and it's a system. The scales, they're not human and they're not animal, they're mechanical. They are completely impartial, or meant to be impartial. So we have got this new feeling coming in. So yes, we might be standing up for ourselves and reconnecting to something that we felt maybe only as a whisper in the past 5 years or so. But now Venus is encouraging us to allow that whisper to come out and to be heard a lot more. But she wants to do it in a really fair way. So I really think we're opening up to so many more viewpoints. This is going to take us out of this very strong opinion, or out of our echo chambers. This is going to take us out of an echo chamber and into somewhere where we want to be impartial, like where we might question ourselves. And I think that is going to be really, really helpful. Now, I just want to, again, scooch ahead a little bit. I sort of time travel in these forecasts, as you know. And, at one point I was talking about Neptune and Pluto in their conjunction, and that takes us back centuries. But I know coming up, is it the end of September and into October, or October and into November? Hang on one second. We have got Venus and Mercury retrograde taking place at the same time and in the same space of the zodiac. And that starts coming in right end of October. So, the beginning of October, Venus is in the beginning of Scorpio, and she's going to scooch back into Libra. So she's going to be in this area. But Mercury's also coming. He's coming further into Scorpio. But from October the 24th until November the 13th, they're both going retrograde, and they're not a million miles away from each other. And so you might find that you have one of your houses really emphasized between Venus and Mercury. So it's interesting, like on this day as well, Mercury is in an exact sextile with Venus. So not only are they creating two more points of this configuration, but they're also working together. And Mercury and Venus, when they work together in a sextile, I think of them as brother and sister. They're not combative. They are wanting to come together. So I see very human issues. I see very human connections. And I see that people are able to bridge the divide. This is like Mercury and Venus aren't really divisive. In fact, they can only make aspects to each other that are harmonious. So you might see them in a conjunction. You might see them in a semi-sextile. You might see them in a sextile. But they're always going to be really close together, and they're working together. This is like the idea of harmonizing, especially Venus in Libra and then Mercury in Leo. It's like harmonizing and taking up space together. So it's like working a message. So yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is like from this solar eclipse and into Thursday and into Friday, this is getting strong again. This is really strong medicine for all of us. And so in yesterday's message for the solar eclipse, I was absolutely talking in terms of, what are you constructing for yourself? What is your new story that you're constructing? Now, I want to just add a bit of context in, because I usually say this and I totally forgot to say it, but where the North Node eclipses are happening, it's showing us where we're heading. This is a South Node eclipse. So this eclipse is taking place today, and we'll be feeling the energy. Oh, did you just make me toast?
Yeah. With butter.
With butter. Hang on one second. I want to introduce you to someone really special. This is my 7-year-old. He just cooked me his first meal, which is buttered toast. Come here. Hang on one sec. Oh, you're getting heavy. Do you want to say hello?
Hello.
You're adorable. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, that's not bad, is it? So, yeah, I guess what I'm here to say is whatever you're constructing for yourself, like this new identity, this new way of being, it's moving you away from where you were. The South Node is showing where you've been familiar. This is suggesting that whatever is coming up for you now is new. You might remember old ideas from the past, but you're cutting away from the past. You're cutting away. This eclipse is working with the South Node. It's cutting away from the past. So yeah, and the next one, which will be on the 28th of August, is absolutely orienting towards the future, and that future is oriented towards the North Node in Aquarius. So yeah, this is going to be some really interesting times. So Wednesday into Thursday, it's big. It's like this is a continuation of this powerful solar eclipse. Final thoughts then. The moon will be going into Virgo and will be wanting to see how things fit, how things work. We'll be wanting to be able to analyze things. We might want data. We might want details. The moon's also going to be going into an opposition with the North Node. So we might need to go back and look at things. We might be checking over past notes and past opinions. The moon making a gorgeous trine to Chiron in Taurus is reminding us that whatever's going on in the world, we have to be healthy. And that's really important. The sextile that it's making to Mars is also saying not just physical health, but family health, togetherness health. That has to be a huge priority. The last part of Thursday is this potentially confronting square with Uranus. And this will be interesting because when this is another pattern, when the moon right at the end of Thursday comes in, it's in a semi-sextile to Mercury and Venus. It's actually at the Mercury and Venus midpoint in a square to Uranus. So it's also working this. So I guess my final comment for Thursday is we might be challenged on our new direction. We might feel like we're defending it. We might feel like a sudden urge, a sudden movement around our new direction. So things are coming in thick and fast. I'm going to leave that there. Loads of love to you if you've, especially if you've watched this whole thing. I hope this is useful. I'm getting some lovely feedback. I now need to go and eat my toast. There's nothing worse than damp and soggy toast. So anyway, lots of love to you. Take care and catch you another time. Bye for now.